Hi there, this video will instruct you how to make a dandelion flower. So she's perfect in some potted plants or in your arrangement as a filler flower. It's super easy to make. And you do need 18 gauge floral wire, and all my supplies were purchased at Joann, but you can purchase them anywhere else. This was part of the National Craft Month for March 2023, so I was super excited to be part of it. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So you're going to cut everything according to the instruction document provided with your purchase of the template in my Etsy shop. And you can optionally add ink. So I did use a brighter yellow here, but on this one I used a lighter yellow. So either or are perfect for the dandelion. Totally up to you. I still use the same color ink on both. Now you don't see it as much on the brighter, but I still want to show you how to optionally add that, and then also add some ink to your sepals and your base for your dandelion. So we're going to go ahead and get started. We do need some hot glue. So I like to use the large Gorilla Glue sticks. So I'm just going to place a piece of scratch paper or copy paper underneath my workspace. And for the yellow, whether again you're using a lighter yellow, so this is from Joann's paper pack. And it has yellow and orange in the pack. Okay, so I like to use Wild Honey, is one of my favorite yellows. And I just do it about 3/4 of an inch up on, so I'm going to hold it at the base and I just add some to the tips. So now you can wear gloves so the ink doesn't get on your fingers if you don't mind, if you didn't want to get messy hands. So again, I'm just adding it for just a little bit of color, about 3/4 of the way up the center or the flower petals. In this case for the dandelion, flip it over and add some optional ink. So again, if you don't want to do this step, it's totally up to you. That's the beauty of making paper flowers, is you can make them into your own. So again, we're going to do this for all our centers, which is basically what we're using to create the dandelion, which bunnies love to eat. So this was part of a bunny arrangement idea I had. And again, I'm just using the finger dabber and the Distress Oxide ink in Wild Honey to add a little bit of color to my center. Again, you don't see it as much on the brighter yellow. You do see it a little bit more on the lighter one. And we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to come down. And again, I'm not going all the way to the base, about 3/4 of the way. And if I don't hit every petal, that's okay. We want it to be shaded like a natural flower, or in our case, the dandelion. So thank you for watching and purchasing the template and watching. Okay, both sides optionally add it. So you can mix, like in your arrangement, the lighter and the darker. I think that would be super pretty, and that's probably what I'm going to do, because I like to have the color variations. And again, we're going down each of them to create our dandelion. So a little bit of shading adds a little bit of natural coloring for our flower. And our last one, again, we do the exact same technique. This is not super hard to make at all. But of course you can use any color yellow that you wanted to. I'm sorry, I didn't remember if I added the ink here. So if you're not sure, just go ahead and add a little bit more, you know, that's what paper flowers are about. We get an oops, we just go with it. All right. And I do reuse my finger dabbers, so I highly recommend you saving them in a little plastic bag, snack bag. Now I like to use forest moss, depending on what color green you're using. Again, this is from the green Park Lane paper pack from Joann's. So we are going to first take our circle, which is part of the template. We're going to place it down on our flower shaping mat. We're going to take our metal ball stylus tools. So they come in a set of 4. I do offer them in my Etsy shop in the paper flower tools section. Or if you are out of the US, I do offer it in my Amazon storefront. So they have a different size metal ball at either end. So we're going to take the second to smallest and we're going to roll to shape our circle. So it's kind of creating like a pie pan, like a glass pie pan, if P-A-N, where it lifts up on the sides. So you can see. Okay. So this is all before we add our ink. So now I'm going to stack my 2 sepals. They're exactly the same size. Hardest part is stacking them. We're going to take 18 gauge wire and you're going to roll or pinch around it the sepal. So if it's too hard for you to roll both of them at once, you're more than welcome. It's just giving it a little bit of shape. So again, I'm just pinching around. All right. Now you're going to lay them both down. We're going to use our embossing stylus. So this is a smaller one. These can be purchased at Dollar Tree. Also with my metal ball stylus sets, I do provide some wood ones, so you can use any of those. But basically all we're going to do is roll. We're going to do a circular motion right in this area, like where those 2 circles are on each of these. So it basically lifts up your petals, as you can see. They're right here, it's flat, but once I roll right there, it just lifted them up. And do the exact same thing on your second one. And now we're going to add some ink. So again, I'm going to use the forest moss. Using my finger dabber. And I'm going to go around both sides. You can go at the edges. And I kind of go over it so it gives it some coloring. Go on the opposite side. Add some ink around the edges. And now we're going to do the exact same thing. I like to do it once they're rolled because it kind of highlights the shape and the crinkling of the paper. But if you're more comfortable doing it before you roll it, that's absolutely your choice. And again, I'm going to do it on both sides. Just a little bit of shading. So definitely you can see the difference in the two when I come super close. All right, again, we're gonna just add a little bit of coloring, and this is optional as well. I like a little bit of ink with some of my paper flowers to make them more realistic looking. And if you're selling it, your clients will appreciate that little added extra step. Now we get to assemble our dandelions. So not super duper hard like I mentioned. So I like to take a piercing tool. So this one is from Dollar Tree. And we're going to pierce a hole right in the center, or best you can. I'm going to stack my two sepals and pierce the hole, hopefully in the center. If it's off center, don't worry about it. Happens to me all the time. We're going to take our 18 gauge wire ahead of time. Okay, you're going to take some needle nose pliers. Place that wire between your needle nose pliers. So it's right in the center there. You're going to turn it to bend it like a shepherd's hook. Okay. Place it back in between your needle nose pliers. Squeeze it shut. And then squeeze it at the top again. So you're closing that hook. Okay. So it's flat now on my surface. Place it again in your needle nose pliers. Bend it 90 degrees or perpendicular, like a corner. Now we're going to thread it through our circle. So if you wanted to, you can roll that circle again. Okay, with the sides facing up, so that's the underside. You're going to thread it through your 18 gauge wire. We're going to add glue to the bottom of my loop. So just a little bit on the bottom of your loop. Thread it through and let it attach. Okay, so that's what it looks like from the side. And we're just going to put it here in our vase to allow it to dry. Now we need our slotted quilling tool and our centers. So we just have 5 centers to create one dandelion. So you can create multiple. And I forgot our green sepal. think that's the color I used. Okay, so you're gonna cut a full length one in green as well, but you don't need a full one for your center. So I do need to bring back my piece of copy paper and my forest moss. So I'm going to add a little bit of color. I apologize. So you can see I did cut this off, or it didn't even cut right, which is fine. So again, you're just doing that same technique, but with green ink on your green outer layer. Just a little bit of color again to match what we did to our sepals. So it's mostly your tips that have a little bit of color. This always happens to me, so don't worry. You have an instruction document with written instructions, and you can follow along also here with the video. So we're going to take our slotted quilling tool. We're going to thread one of our centers. So we're going to start with all the yellow. Hardest part is threading. Okay, you place it right in there. We're going to roll it towards you a few times. I press pretty hard into my finger. I'm not sure why. If it makes a difference, I'm not sure. But add some glue. Roll it towards you and keep that bottom edge aligned. You can add glue as you go, like in the middle, every so often, or you don't have to. It's totally up to you. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Okay, then you secure the end. And now we attach our next one. So we want to add enough glue to make one rotation around. So I did a little bit more than we needed to. We're going to go right to where we ended, and you can overlap ever so slightly, keeping that bottom edge aligned. You roll towards you. Again, if you want to add a little bit of ink, oh my goodness, glue as you go. Roll towards you. And secure the end with glue. So remember, here's our circle. We're going to be attaching it, so we still have a little bit of ways to go. Grab your next center. Add some glue, enough to make it one rotation around. I added a lot more than I needed to. Okay, go to where you ended your center and start rolling towards you, keeping that bottom edge aligned. Then again, if you want to add a little bit right here in the center. So Gorilla Glue dries super fast, so you do need to act fast. Okay, two more. Add enough glue to your center to make one rotation all the way around. Go to where you ended your last center. You can overlap, that's fine. Roll it towards yourself. Keep rolling. And secure the end. Okay, add enough glue to the end. So I start from the right side, but I am right-handed, so we're going to go right to where the last one ended. It can overlap slightly. Roll it towards you. And then we secure the end with hot glue. Okay, we have one more piece. We're going to add our green. So I'm just going to cut off the part that to make it a nice edge. I'm going to add glue to a generous size, and I'm just going to make one rotation around with the green. So we're literally going to cut it off where it meets. So I'm just going to add a little bit more glue to make sure it makes it to that edge. And if it overlaps slightly, that is fine. So you can see that's where it ends. And now I'm going to cut it off. Watch your fingers. And make sure it's secure. Okay, so you're just going one rotation around. So that's why I said I have extra pieces laying around. So you can get to, oops, at least 2 centers from one green piece. Okay, now you're going to remove it from your slotted quilling tool. Oh, I have like glue. So I usually hold it in my hand, and we're going to fluff it out to give it the look of our dandelion. Oh, she's so pretty. You can see now she's taking shape like a dandelion looks like, where we normally see it as weeds in our yard, right? Now just think, you don't have to use the traditional colors. This could be a filler flower for any type of arrangement in any color, so your choice. Okay. And that's what it looks like on the back. Now we allow this to dry, our circle. Again, that's what it looks like from the side. We're going to add hot glue all over that entire center. Okay, so I just put a new glue stick in, so I might have to stop a moment and press it down. Make sure you get up to all around the edges and then cover the entire interior here, center of that circle. We want to make sure she stays secure. Now just come right down from the top. Place her as evenly as you can and press. So she kind of holds our dandelion in place. And we give it a moment to dry. Okay, now for our 2 sepals, we're going to turn them upside down so that the petals are facing downward. You're going to thread one on. Okay, we're going to add glue right around that center. Just like that. Okay, then I just bring it down. I'm going to allow it to dry a moment or 2. Flip it over again so the petals are facing downward. thread it on to our stem. Now I did cut my stems in half. They come like 14, 18 inches long. It all depends. And just because I'm filming, I don't like to hit. And also for most of my arrangements, they're not super tall in height. So again, you're going to go right around the center. So if you hold your glue gun, you can just twist your flower usually. I place it down, and now we're going to place these in between the previous layers sepals. I'm just going to bend them down, but keep them separate. And there you have a dandelion. Now you can wrap it with floral wire if you choose. I'm just going to make sure it's totally secure there. So we're going to press it. And like I mentioned, you can add the floral tape around here. You can stem it, but it's also up to you. But that's how you make it. You can see this is the two darker yellows. This is a lighter. I still use the wild honey on both for a little bit of color. And that is your dandelion. So thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and you can make your own dandelions today. Thank you.